Good evening. I'd like to call the City Council meeting to order. I am not your Mayor, Jim Cox. He is on vacation, so I am filling in for him tonight. Can we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Garcia.
Here.
Councilmember Kennedy. Councilmember Valla's absence is noted. Mayor Pro Tem McEachron.
Here.
And Mayor Cox's absence is noted.
All right, and we did not have any closed session.
Mayor Pro Tem, that is correct. We did not have any closed session. There were 2 items listed on the agenda, but we did not need to go in and have a closed session on them, so no reportable action.
All right, this time we'll have our invocation and pledge of allegiance. Our invocation will be led by Pastor Larry White from Horizon Church. Please stay standing for a pledge of allegiance led by our Victorville Police Chief, Sam Lucia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. Numbers chapter 6, verses 24 through 26 says this: "The Lord bless you and protect you. The Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace." Let's pray. Lord, I do pray that this evening. This is a priestly prayer, and I pray that over, Lord, not only our country, but specifically this city. Lord, that you would bless this city, that you would protect it. I thank you for your blessings and for your protection over us today. I ask, Lord, that you would make your face shine upon us, a face of grace filled with mercy and love. That, Lord, you would lift your countenance upon us, and that countenance be a countenance of peace, love, and mercy. We love you, and we thank you for the opportunity to pray at these proceedings this evening. I pray a blessing over each person here in your name. Amen.
All right, I do know we have a special presentation. We have Public Works Day essay contest winners. Ro, are you here handling this? Doug, you're standing in. Would you like me to come down there, or you got it? Okay.
Try again. Thank you. Good evening, Honorable Council and guests. Each year, Public Works Day is celebrated across the nation, and you can see our theme this year was Building for Today, Planning for Tomorrow. As we have in the past, we hosted a field trip for 300 fourth grade students in the Victor Elementary School District. Oh, and Kim, come on up. Sorry about that. 9 schools from the Victor Elementary School District, and we hold a field trip at Schmidt Park out at SCLA. This enables the students to learn how the Public Works Department contributes to the quality of life in Victorville, and they learn soft skills such as communication, collaboration, critical thinking, and creativity. The students visited 9 different public works stations, and they were provided instructive activity on what each of these divisions in Public Works does. It broadens their civic knowledge and understanding of our public works infrastructure. The students were invited to write essays on what they learned, and they were given those. They gave those back to the teacher. So tonight we're here to do a few things. First, to publicly recognize the council and thank them for allowing us to participate. And we want to recognize and give thanks to our participating divisions, which would be animal control, graffiti, recycling, household hazardous waste, our CCTV van, water quality, street sweeping, fleet, and traffic signals. Next slide, Brandon. Here's the schools that participated this year: Brentwood, Challenger, Delray, Endeavor, Galileo, Mojave Vista, Parkview, Puesta del Sol, and Village. And I believe, how many schools do we have, Kim? Yeah. So out of 18 schools, I guess these 9 have to vie for the chance to participate in this event every year. And lastly, we want to recognize our sponsors. This event is totally funded by sponsorships, no money coming from the city. American Landscape and Maintenance, Victorville Recycles, Sherwin-Williams, Green, DeBortonowski, and Quintanilla, Victor Valley Transit Authority, Graves and King, Mitsubishi Cement Corp., American Organics, Cutting Edge Supply, High Desert Cultural Arts Foundation, and West Coast Arborists. And I believe there'll be eventually some video or at least some pictures up on the website that you wouldn't believe these students out there, how many and how well behaved they are, as I know our Mayor Pro Tem can attest to. So lastly, we're here to, we wanted to thank Kim and Verducci and the Victor Elementary School District staff for their partnership. And again, congratulate them on the outstanding students, fourth grade students they brought to the park and how well they behaved. So with that, we're going to award essay contest winners.
Thank you very much. I can't thank the Public Works Department and the City of Victorville enough for putting on this wonderful event for our students every year. Every year, our fourth grade students just absolutely love this event and the teachers, and it's such a wonderful learning opportunity for our students. It looks like our third place winner had difficulty getting here and is not here. Our third place winner, who was going to receive a $25 Barnes & Noble gift certificate, had an essay which highlighted the value of teamwork and how the City of Victorville Animal Care and Control Division works to keep the animals safe. And that student, who's unfortunately not here from Puesta del Sol, was Mia Moreno. Our second place winner, we'd like to give a big congratulations to, is receiving a $50 Barnes & Noble gift card. This student wrote an impressive essay on the City of Victorville's water quality processes. From Parkview Elementary School, Sofia Castellanos. And congratulations to our first place grand prize winner, receiving a $100 Barnes & Noble gift card. This student wrote an outstanding essay about the City of Victorville's Animal Care and Control Division's work to keep the public safe. From Puesta del Sol Elementary School, we have Anaya Bryant. Congratulations to our students, and thank you to their families for bringing them here tonight. And we have a teacher here as well, here to support our students. So thank you very much.
All right, at this time we'll have our city clerk present the agenda to the council.
There is only one revision to tonight's agenda, and that is related to agenda item A1. It's the appellant's withdrawal of appeal contingent upon City Council's acceptance of the utility undergrounding suspension agreement that is contained in agenda item C3, and those are the only revisions tonight.
All right, so in that case, the appeal hearing, agenda item A1, has been withdrawn, and there is no need to have open the public hearing on that.
That is correct.
All right, we'll move on to agenda item B1. This is a public hearing of the Victorville Water District Board of Directors, called to hear arguments for and against the Victorville Water District amending resolution number VWD 13-014, establishing rates for recycled and public benefit water service by adopting resolution VWD 14-008. I know that there might be some questions, issues that staff wanted to bring up, or
Actually, Councilmember Kennedy had some questions he wanted to get answered on the water rates issue.
But that was on B2.
Okay.
was that on B2?
Okay.
Yeah, this was just a correction. Am I right? From the original resolution said it was a 60% discount for public benefit water, and this corrects it to 40%?
That's correct.
Yeah.
It was really more of a typo than anything else.
All right. So I'll go ahead and open the public hearing on agenda item B1. I don't have any cards. Anyone wishing to address the council on agenda item B1? All right, seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing and return it to the council for decision.
Motion by Councilmember Garcia, second by Councilmember Kennedy. Motion carries with Mayor Cox and Councilmember Valles absent.
All right, agenda item B2, this is another public hearing of the Victorville Water District Board of Directors called to hear arguments for and against the Victorville Water District amending resolution number VWD 13-014, establishing rates for water service by adopting resolution VWD 14-009. Again, before I open the public hearing, Mr. Kennedy, you did have some questions on this.
Yeah, a couple things. First of all, what we're dealing with is a motion made by a prior council several years ago that routinely, automatically, every year raised water rates 8%. Am I right? More or less?
I don't know that it automatically raised them 8%. There was a schedule that went through the full process, right. And for the last 3 to 4 years, this city council has postponed that rate increase because of the economy and because of a lack of need. At this point in time, staff's recommendation is that we implement it only partially rather than the full 8%, just to keep up with the cost of water.
One thing I'd like to do is just ask that at some point in the near future, so we don't forget about it until next year, that we take some action to eliminate that resolution. That is a seemed unnecessary that we have to deal with the same kind of silly situation every year. We should make our rate decisions annually, not decide to not do something a council decided to do 5 years ago. I think we ought to get rid of that. But having said that, I was reviewing the income analysis, income and expense analysis Mr. Borman did, and I appreciate, Mr. Borman, that we aren't debating depreciation this year. I really do. But I got a few questions, and I'm going to pose them to staff and not ask to have a discussion about them tonight because I think they're going to require some additional explanation. We've got revenues that are projected to be dead level over the next 5 years, absolutely identical revenue numbers. Now that says to me, this is the example with no change in rates, all right? Steve gave us several examples, but the one that had no change in rates, our revenue is going to be the same. That says to me we're applying the current rates to exactly the same production of water over the next 5 years. On the other hand, I look at costs, and the cost of buying imported water goes up $250,000 every year. The cost of the makeup obligation goes up, I don't know, some $30,000 every year. We're going to start R3 pumping, and I guess this next year is when that will commence. I don't understand how we can have the same level of production, but all of these water supply costs are going to go up. So I'd like an explanation that says to me that there must be some change in the price we're paying for the water we're buying that's built into those projections over the next 5 years. But everything else, labor's going up every year by about the same amount, and every item of expense, really, contract services, et cetera, et cetera. There's an item in there called cost allocation, $1.3 million, that increases by the same amount every year. All of these costs are increasing by $600,000 every year over the prior year, and it's the same $600,000 year after year after year, and we're assuming that our production of water and our sale of water is going to be dead level. And I just don't understand why all those costs just have to rise that way in our projection. Because those projections are the things that are creating this deficit in the water fund that are pushing us to raise rates. It's a complicated question, and I'd like to get a better answer. But the thing that's driving this more than anything else are capital projects. I mean, we're going to spend, over the next 5 years, we're going to spend $35 million on capital project improvements. And I looked through the capital project list, and there's some big numbers in there. And I guess what I'd like to get is an idea of just what those are and why we need them and what the schedule is. And I understand we're having some leak problems and some maintenance. But it's this combination of numbers that are driving us to a rate increase and it's all based on projections about the future. And I just would like to have some comfort that those projections are going to really hold up. And that's a long-winded way of saying I'd like more explanation of what's in these projections.
If the council would like, we can answer those questions to the extent we can in writing over the next 2 weeks, and then offer a presentation as well if it needs that. I know Mr. McGlade couldn't be here tonight, but I've seen a graph that he prepared because I had some of the same questions regarding the cost of water and things. So if the council wants, we could continue this item to the 17th to get those questions answered, but also to revise the resolution to eliminate the automatic increase aspect of it, if that's the desire of the council, or at least put that option in there.
I'd like to see us do that if we can.
You could certainly do that. Just want to point out that the schedule and the increases were adopted pursuant to a Prop 218 process some years ago, where you did the necessary studies and justifications to allow for annual increases, and that was all set forth in your analysis at that point. So doing it annually could trigger, if you didn't have that and didn't rely on that original analysis, another 218 vote every time, which is complicated, expensive.
We can take a look at it and see.
Can we modify it in a way that we don't have to go back through the 218 process?
That's what we'll attempt to do, to the extent that we can, without having to redo the 218 process, which is costly and time-consuming.
Mr. Mayor, that would be my request, if we would.
All right, well, it is an advertised public hearing, so I will go ahead and open the public hearing on agenda item B2. Anyone wishing to address the council on agenda item B2? Okay, I don't see anyone. We will go ahead and continue this item to June, our next regular meeting, which is June 17th.
Correct.
All right. All right, moving on to consent calendar. Entertain a motion on that.
We have a motion by Councilmember Kennedy. Is there a second? Second by Councilmember Garcia. Motion carries with Mayor Cox and Councilmember Valles absent.
All right, on to written communications, agenda item D1. This is request the City Council call the November 4th, 2014 general municipal election and request consolidation with the statewide general election by adopting the following resolutions.
Motion by Councilmember Kennedy, second by Councilmember Garcia. Motion carries with Mayor Cox and Councilmember Valles absent.
Agenda item D2, request the City Council approve the purchase from Pole Products Division of Amaron International Corporation in the amount of $40,053.29 for signal and lighting standards, signal arms and luminaire arms for Mojave Drive and Cobalt Road.
Motion by Councilmember Garcia, second by Councilmember Kennedy. Motion carries with Mayor Cox and Councilmember Valles absent.
Agenda item D3, this is a request the City Council award the CMAS piggyback purchase of a video network solution to the existing video camera network known as Victorville Safe City from Leverage Information System from the State of California, contract number 3-12-70-2926A, and change the project name from Victorville Safe City to Public Safety Video Network, PSVN.
Got a question, Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Sam, I'd be interested in your comment. We've had complaints in the past from a couple of citizens who were bothered by the fact that we had surveillance cameras in the parks, and they felt that this was a kind of an infringement on their right of privacy, I suppose. Can you give us some sense on these cameras, how that's going to work? Is that a vague enough question?
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, members of City Council. Each and every one of these cameras are strictly controlled to only view public accessed or public areas. Anywhere that you can stand and view something, the cameras could stand and view something. They're restricted from viewing areas where there is an expectation of privacy. Parks are public places, streets and roads are all public places, and of course those cameras can view those areas. Does that answer your question briefly?
It does, yeah.
Well, and I believe, I mean, are you proactively watching these cameras 24/7? Or are you using them only if something occurs, or?
As the system is right now, and John can talk more about the system and the future growth of the system, but yeah, as it sits now, it's something that we can go back and review, and it's very, very difficult for us to view live. However, we are heading that direction to be proactively command and controlling these cameras.
But if an incident does occur in that area, you can go back and review
Absolutely.
cameras and
Absolutely.
possibly find suspects. And
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you.
Motion by Councilmember Kennedy, second by Councilmember Garcia. Motion carries with Mayor Cox and Councilmember Vyas absent.
Agenda item D4, this is a request Southern California Logistics Airport Authority Board of Directors appoint an executive director and assistant executive director to the Southern California Logistics Airport Authority by adopting resolution SCLAA-14-003. It's interesting, we've been operating all these years without an executive director or an assistant executive director. Quite amazing. Even it's, I mean, that organization's in the black now, and yet no one's running the show.
We need a resolution, apparently.
Okay.
So, yeah, it doesn't actually change anything, but some agency somewhere in the world decided that we didn't have a resolution in place that bestowed those titles upon Mr. Metzler and myself, so this is cleanup.
Got it.
How in the world did this ever come up?
It's set forth in the JPA agreement. The Joint Powers Agreement sets it forth and establishes that those are the individuals. However, like Mr. Robertson said, some agencies requiring an actual resolution in addition to that.
But I mean, somebody went back recently and read that JPA?
Yeah,
For
there was
signature
another
authority.
governmental entity that was questioning signature authorities of staff, and then, of course, when we cited our executive roles, they actually read the JPA and said, found where the JPA said it's got to be done by resolution. They asked for the resolution. We couldn't produce the resolution.
Motion by Councilmember Garcia, second by Councilmember Kennedy. Motion carries with Mayor Cox and Councilmember Vyas absent.
Agenda item D5, this is a request City Council approve superseding freeway agreement between the City of Victorville and the State of California for the I-15 reconstruction project and authorize the mayor to execute the agreement.
Motion by Councilmember Garcia, second by Councilmember Kennedy. Motion carries with Mayor Cox and Councilmember Vyas absent.
By the way, that's going to be a tremendous project down there, isn't it?
It is. It absolutely is. Looking forward to it. So, and while I've got my mic live here, items D6 and D7, staff is recommending that they be pulled from the agenda and put over to a meeting to be named later due to a quorum issue, because Councilmember Kennedy will need to recuse himself. That leaves us with only two. So these will have to be rescheduled to another date and time.
All right.
One question, if I may. Will the food and beverage portion of this be separate from the golf course? And if it is there any reason I would have to recuse myself from the contract for food and beverage? Or is it all going to be wound into one lease?
It is probably going to all be handled, but you would also still have to recuse yourself with respect to the food and beverage portion of it, because it's inextricably tied to the operations of the golf course, and I believe the FPPC would deem that to be a conflict.
And for the folks who might be interested in knowing, that's because Jim Cox and I both live on the golf course. So the theory is that somehow we're benefited by this contract, so we can't participate.
Benefiting or harmed.
Or
It can go
harmed.
either way.
It might be the other way. All right, so we will not handle D6 or D7 tonight. That'll be handled at a later date. So we'll go into our public comment portion, agenda item E1. I do not have any cards. Is there anyone wishing to address the council under public comment on an item that has not been agendized? All right, seeing no one, we'll go to agenda item E2. This is a report from city manager.
Not a lot. We did discover after the last meeting that the June 24th, which we had both the budget and the development code issue scheduled, at least tentatively scheduled to be moved to June 24th. We do have a scheduling conflict after all, so if anyone happens to be in the audience who is looking forward to those issues on June 24th, the budget, we are going to move back to June 17th, actually, 2 weeks from tonight, for hopefully a final approval. And then the development code issue, we are looking at putting off possibly another couple of weeks after that, so that we can make sure that all 5 council members can be there and potentially add the planning commission. But there's still a few discussions to be had on a final date for that. So anyone who was at the last meeting or watches the last meeting who thought we were, as we all did, that we were going to have a special meeting on the 24th, that is going to have to be postponed for the most part.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you. Now we'll move on to council member reports. Anything? Kennedy?
Just 2 things. I was very proud to represent the City Council at the Memorial Day service at Victorville Memorial Park last Monday. I was asked to make opening remarks, and I hope they were inspiring. When I was finished and the event was over, the Master of Ceremonies, there was a Lieutenant Commander from the Navy, thanked me, but he wanted to know why the mayor wasn't there, and I said, I'm sorry, I'm the second string, I'm the best you're going to get today. The other thing was we all received an email from a Mr. Mehta with some harsh criticism about how he's being billed for water and sewer service, although he didn't consume any water, and the bill clearly reflected that he didn't consume any water. I would like for staff to, at a future meeting, explain exactly what this policy is. It's the first time I've had it posed this way, and it seems odd. That I understand paying a service charge for the availability of the service, but when there is no consumption, why pay for the sewer and the water? I'm a little confused, so I'd like staff to explain that.
All right, and other than making note of how efficiently this city council meeting was run without the mayor here, we are adjourned.
That's a record, right?